Today, we're talking about the EPA's initial step towards regulating lead fuel used by small planes and plans for driverless taxi rides in Japan in 2026. First, let's start off with the first step. The EPA is inching closer toward regulating the use of leaded fuel often used in smaller planes. In a statement, it highlighted some of the environmental and public health risks associated with lead emissions. EPA Administrator Michael Regan said that the White House should move forward and propose new standards to limit the use of leaded gasoline in aviation. Planes that operate on lead fuel are typically smaller piston engine aircrafts, which are usually flying in and out of smaller airports and exposing nearby residents. Lead pollution can cause irreversible and lifelong health effects, but this is especially true for children. Average levels of lead exposure in the U.S. has gone down dramatically since the 1980s thanks to the heavy regulation of products in homes and schools. However, the risk for exposure is higher if you live near these smaller airports that operate aircraft that rely on leaded gasoline. Now that the EPA has formally declared what it already knew, that leaded gasoline is bad, it can work with the FAA to iron out regulations limiting its use. Although the FAA does not have direct regulatory authority over what fuels airplanes use, the aviation agency has committed to transition all piston engine aircrafts away from lead-filled aviation fuels before the end of 2030. Now, in 2026 Japan, your ride will be here, but your driver won't be. GM, Cruise, and Honda are teaming up to introduce a driverless ride-hailing service in Japan, which could launch in early 2026 if things go according to plan. The companies have entered a memorandum of understanding to form a joint venture for the project, and they're hoping to establish the company in the first half of 2024, provided they're able to secure the necessary regulatory approvals by then. Their ride-hailing service will deploy the Cruise Origin electric shuttle van that the companies had developed together. It's a self-driving vehicle with no steering wheel or even a driver's seat, which means it also has no pedals and no rear-view mirror. Instead, it has a big cabin space where up to 6 passengers can sit facing each other, and its doors slide open like a subway's. It has the potential to solve the country's ongoing driver shortage and could provide an alternative for those who can't use Tokyo's extensive train and subway system for any reason. While it's still early days for the project, the companies already have a vision for how they want to execute their plans. They're looking to start by deploying dozens of Cruise Origins in central Tokyo by 2026 before expanding the fleet to 500 Origins. After that, they're hoping to make the service available outside of the capital center. Like any other similar service, passengers will be able to hail an Origin through a dedicated app as well as pay for their ride. Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Today's show featured journalism by Engadget contributors Malak Saleh and Mariella Moon and was produced by Spoken Layer. I'm Imran Sheikh, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
Spoken Layer.